The film opens in Hollow Earth, where Kong is seen being chased by beasts known as wart dogs before reaching the edge of a cliff. The giant ape sets a trap for the creatures, causing one to fall to its death and tearing another in half, forcing the rest to flee. As Kong attempts to eat his prey, he discovers an infected tooth preventing him from doing so. He then hears a loud roar that he mistakes for another ape but turns out to be a frog-like creature making the noise. Kong then accepts his loneliness. Dr. Eileen Andrews, played by Rebecca Hall, has been collaborating with Monarch to ensure that Godzilla and Kong remain apart. Godzilla asserts his dominance over other creatures by swiftly dealing with any disturbances they cause. In Rome, the beast Scylla is wreaking havoc until Godzilla unleashes his atomic breath, targeting Scylla's throat before claiming the Colosseum as his new resting place. At an outpost facility in Hollow Earth, researchers begin detecting intense energy readings emanating from Kong's territory, leading to the formation of a sinkhole where Kong defeated the wart dogs. Eileen receives this information from a Monarch colleague, Director Hampton, played by Rachel House. In the meantime, Eileen has taken in Gia, portrayed by Kaylee Hoddle, who is about to attend public school for the first time. Gia is having visions related to the Titans, and her drawings unknowingly resemble the energy patterns identified by Monarch. Gia confides in Eileen, expressing her sense of not fitting into this new world. Later, the outpost facility is obliterated by an unidentified Titan. Eileen travels to Miami to seek Bernie Hayes, played by Brian Tyree Henry, for assistance in deciphering the link to Gia's visions. He agrees to help only under the condition that he accompanies her into Hollow Earth. Another energy surge occurs, one that even Godzilla picks up on. Leaving Rome behind, the giant lizard begins moving towards the source of the disturbance. Concurrently, Kong emerges from Hollow Earth in search of Eileen and Gia, exhibiting his decaying tooth to them. Eileen reaches out to her old acquaintance, a Monarch veterinarian named Trapper, Dan Stevens. Utilizing his advanced technology, Trapper removes Kong's decaying tooth and replaces it with a metallic one. Following this, Bernie informs Eileen about a distress signal originating from Hollow Earth. Eileen, Bernie, Trapper, Gia, and pilot Mikael, Alex Ferns, embark on a journey, trailing Kong as he heads back underground. As Godzilla makes his way to a nuclear power plant in France, he begins absorbing the radiation to power himself up. Jets swarm in, attempting to shoot him down, but Godzilla effortlessly swats them away like flies. Hampton notices Godzilla heading towards another Titan named Tiamat, situated in the North Pole. The researchers realize that if Godzilla defeats Tiamat, he will become immensely powerful. The crew in Hollow Earth stumbles upon the destroyed Monarch outpost and discovers the researchers dead. Meanwhile, Kong explores a sinkhole and enters a subterranean realm. As he navigates with his axe, he encounters another figure, Suko, a smaller ape. Despite Kong's attempts to peacefully approach her, Suko bites him and summons 3 other apes to attack. In a fierce battle, Kong fights off the apes, using Suko as a weapon at one point to defeat them. As one ape nearly falls off a cliff, Kong saves him only to be betrayed by the ungrateful ape, forcing Kong to defend himself. The remaining ape retreats as Kong asks Suko to guide him further into the unknown territory. The crew resumes flying until another power surge forces their ship to crash. Trapper and Bernie feel the imminent danger, but Mikael tries to take charge only to be devoured by a tree-like creature. The rest flee until they discover the remains of an ancient temple devoted to Mothra. Gia activates an opening, guiding them through a mystical barrier into the underground realm. Suko brings Kong to a watering hole to drink from, but their peaceful moment is disrupted when a massive serpent monster emerges and attacks Kong. In a fierce battle, Kong fights back using his axe and manages to decapitate the serpent. To everyone's surprise, including Suko, who unknowingly led Kong into danger, Kong then takes the serpent's remains and starts consuming them, even sharing some with Suko. Monarch follows Godzilla's movements until he finally reaches Tiamat. The underwater titan awakens and engages in battle with Godzilla. Despite Tiamat wrapping herself around him, Godzilla defeats her and absorbs her radiation energy before retreating back into the water to prepare himself. The crew is discovered by warriors from the Iwi tribe, who swiftly recognize Gia as one of their own. The tribe's leader communicates telepathically with Gia and invites her closer. By touching hands, they are able to exchange visions and memories of both the Iwi tribe and Gia's own recollections. Eileen deduces that the distress signal they intercepted actually originated from the Iwi. Guided deeper into the temple of the Iwi, Eileen acts as their translator, revealing the tribe's history. In ancient times, the great apes served as humanity's guardians, until a brutal leader known as the Skar King led a rebellion, attempting to wage war against the surface world alongside his ape army in a battle against Godzilla and its kind. Godzilla intervened, imprisoning the Skar King and his forces within Hollow Earth to prevent their escape. Legend has it that a direct descendant of the Iwi, Gia, will be the one destined to awaken Mothra. Kong follows Zuko to the location of the other great apes, only to be greatly surprised by what he finds. They are being forced into hard labor by Skar King. Witnessing one of Skar King's enforcers bullying another ape, Kong steps in and challenges the enforcer. After a brief confrontation, Kong lands a sucker punch, knocking the enforcer down. Skar King then appears, mocking Kong for his metal tooth in front of the other apes. Skar King moves to attack Zuko, but is stopped by the surviving ape who had previously attacked Kong. A duel ensues between Kong and Skar King, during which Skar King wields a whip made from the spine of another titan. Though Kong initially gains the upper hand, Skar King unveils his secret weapon, an ice titan named Shimo, supposedly responsible for the last ice age. Controlling Shimo with a crystal that inflicts pain upon the beast, Skar King commands it to unleash icy blasts at Kong. Despite Kong's efforts to defend himself with his axe, the power of the attack causes his arm to freeze and suffer frostbite, weakening him. In a desperate move, Kong retreats with some of Skar King's apes giving chase. Leading them into a trap, Kong manages to eliminate all except the ape he had previously knocked out, as the latter used another ape as a shield against falling debris. The crew spends more time with the Iwi, with Gia finally reunited with her own people. Bernie focuses on documenting his discoveries while Eileen expresses to Trapper her desire for what's best for Gia. The Iwi reveal their world by opening a mystical portal as Zuko brings the wounded Kong to them. Seeing Kong's injured arm and distressed state, they understand he has lost his home. Signaling sadly to Gia, Kong shares his sorrow. Trapper informs Eileen that Kong can be aided by tech from Operation Powerhouse, a project designed for augmenting Kong in case of Titan attacks, despite being shut down. Trapper locates the Beast Glove from a ruined Monarch outpost and fits it onto Kong's arm, restoring his mobility and strength. Despite knowing the risks, Kong decides to surface to attract Godzilla's attention. Meanwhile, Skar King rides Shimo, leading the apes towards their next conquest. Godzilla reawakens after being fully empowered by Tiamat's energy, causing his dorsal plates to emit a vibrant pink glow. Meanwhile, Kong emerges onto the surface world through a portal in Cairo. When Godzilla hears Kong's roar in Gibraltar, he swiftly heads that way. Not happy to see Kong again, Godzilla rushes towards him, disregarding Kong's attempts to communicate. The two clash, causing destruction around them, including the pyramids. Kong uses his new glove to land a few powerful punches on Godzilla. In the depths of Hollow Earth, the Iwi tribe carries out their ritual with Gia, leading to the resurrection of Mothra. The legendary creature ascends to the surface to intervene in the battle. Godzilla is astonished to see his old ally return, prompting him to set aside his conflict with Kong. Together, they unite their roars as a sign of solidarity. As Skar King and his forces rapidly approach, humans devise a plan to generate a gravitational surge by leveraging Iwi technology, utilizing their crystals to trigger a reaction that will briefly halt the malevolent titans from breaking free. With Shimo freezing the veil to allow Skar King's entry, Godzilla and Kong join forces in a grand battle, each targeting Shimo and Skar King. The gravity surge initiates, propelling the two primates and reptiles into an epic mid-air clash. While Skar King's enforcer attempts to intervene, Zuko enters the fray, dispatching the treacherous ape and sending him plummeting to his demise. Mothra shields the humans seeking refuge in flight. Subsequently, the four principal titans tumble through the portal into the surface world. The titans find themselves on a beach in Rio de Janeiro, causing panic among the other beachgoers. Skar King commands Shimo to unleash her ice powers, freezing several buildings and sending an ice blast into the sky. Kong tries to attack Skar King, but Shimo's ice powers make it challenging for Kong to defeat him. Godzilla charges up his atomic breath to attack Skar King, who manages to dodge the blast but loses the crystal on his whip in the process. With the crystal exposed, Suko enters the battle with Kong's axe and shatters the crystal, freeing Shimo from Skar King's control. Now deprived of his ultimate weapon, Kong hurls the evil ape towards Godzilla, who tosses him back with his tail like a volleyball. Godzilla then holds Skar King in the air as Shimo turns against her former master, freezing him solid. Kong shatters Skar King into countless pieces, and Godzilla uses his breath to melt the ice blast, restoring everything to normal. In the aftermath, Godzilla goes back to rest at the Colosseum. Mothra fixes the breach in the hollow earth. Eileen thinks Gia is ready to leave her and stay with the Iwi tribe, but Gia communicates that she will stay with Eileen wherever they go. The two then part ways with Trapper and Bernie. Kong returns to the Great Apes with Suko and Shimo, who is now receiving better treatment thanks to Kong. As he stands before the other apes as their new leader, Kong raises his axe to the sky and lets out a powerful roar, which the other apes respond to with respect.